Hello again, everyone. I'm Lucas Berry, and you're watching Train Time on the New River Network. You know, it's been a little bit since we've gotten together. The last I recall, we were talking about the Western Maryland Railway when we saw CSX's homage to the road. And don't think that's the only train I've got over the last couple of weeks, because it isn't. What we have here in this episode is a collection of trains that I filmed from the first time I saw the Western Maryland unit that night in Thurmond on M652 in late August to now. Some of these shots were filmed just about a week ago. And that's what we'll be presenting here. It's not that many, truth be told. It's still a little too warm for my liking, and I'll be honest, I don't really want to go out there and bake. I'll be getting out more as we get into October, moving forward, we get into the fall, and the leaves start falling, and it looks absolutely gorgeous, because I love fall footage. I love getting fall pictures. I love filming trains in fall, and I'm really looking forward to that. So we'll get more as we go, and of course if a heritage unit shows up here, I'll probably go out for that, because I like those things. So without further ado, let's get going as we take a look at some shots that are, I think, interesting. There's something notable about all of these shots, and now that I think about it. And there's something to be told, there's a story to be told in every shot. And that's what we're going to do here as we talk about what we see in these, about 4 or 5 trains, I think it is, on the New River. So let's get going, everyone. Our first shot is of M653 in Thurmond. What's notable about this is it may well be the last shot I have of this train on the New River. Both 653 and counterpart train M652 will be going back to their original routing via the former clinch field that was destroyed by Hurricane Helene last year. CSX has reopened that part of the railroad, but still has some work to do, like some final inspections before they allow manifest trains to come back. Right now they're only running just coal trains down there. What's notable about this also is the lead locomotive. CSX 115 is a GE AC 4400CW built in 1995. It is scheduled to be rebuilt next year and will lose both its number and its paint job. Currently 115 wears what we call the YN2 paint scheme, so named because it's the second CSX paint scheme to feature a yellow nose. This was CSX's corporate identity in the 1990s and early 2000s. It was replaced by the YN3 scheme, which the second engine here, CSX 5207, is wearing, albeit she's a little weathered from her time in service. As each of these locomotives that wore the YN2 paint are either rebuilt or retired and placed into storage, those that remain in this classic scheme are sought out by rail fans as a reminder of the past, and it's nice to see an old girl still in the job all these years later. It's amazing what you can find on a Sunday drive. One Sunday in late August, I came across this train at Hawks Nest. This is C-760, loaded coal from the huge Bailey Mine in Pennsylvania to Bryce, North Carolina. This is another train that's being rerouted through here as a result of the Clinchfield closure. This train came out of Pennsylvania to Grafton before being sent down the former Baltimore and Ohio line down the Ohio River through Parkersburg to Huntington, and then got on XC&O rails there for the trip east. It'll make another turn south in Richmond for North Carolina. Now that the Clinchfield is back in service, this train has a much shorter route and instead goes to Big Sandy Junction near Canova, West Virginia, and goes down into Kentucky, Tennessee, and eventually North Carolina that way. Before we have full-blown heritage units on CSX, we had these, what we call sticker units. They're just an average, ordinary workaday locomotive with a sticker honoring a predecessor railroad on the front of the engine. And quite frankly, if you didn't know, you probably wouldn't notice, because it's a lot easier to tell there's something special about this locomotive when the whole side of the darn thing is painted in heritage colors, as opposed to a sticker slapped on the front of the engine. This is R.J. Corman putting their train together in Mount Hope for the trip to Thurmond. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay in Chase as I had somewhere else to be. After we watch these guys do their work, I'll show you another sticker unit in action, and you'll see just how hard it is to really identify just what it's trying to accomplish in terms of honoring a railroad. Okay, so here's a shot of CSX 3415, the Georgia Railroad sticker unit, leading in Thurman in 2020. I had to do a double take when I saw the engine because I wasn't sure what that thing was on the front, further proving you really can't tell what a sticker unit is honoring unless the train is moving slow or it's stopped. And it also proved to me how happy I am that we have actual heritage units now, with the honored road very plain to see. Back in the present day, my friend Josh came up from North Carolina one Saturday afternoon in September, and we went out to try to find some trains. We saw a clear signal for an eastbound at Cotton Hill, and after some debate decided Prince would be our destination to film it. After a while of waiting, the train showed up. It didn't appear to be anything out of the ordinary, just a normal power plant coal train. What caught us off guard was there were people in the locomotives on the rear. Locomotives on the rear are not uncommon, but they're usually DPU or distributed power units that are controlled by the lead locomotive. There have been rumors going around that CSX was considering implementing man-helper service on the New River, but to my knowledge that has never come to fruition. If it had, or if it ever does, it would be a first for this stretch of railroad. The C&O considered the New River the flat part of the road with the maximum grade of 0.48% near Kanawha Falls. Compare that to the climb up the Alleghenies to Clifton Forge from Hinton, which had a maximum grade of 0.57% up the hill eastbound. Now, 0.57% may not sound like a lot, but for years, C&O had helper service out of Hinton for coal trains climbing the hill. These engines were cut off with the train in Allegheny, Virginia before going back to Hinton.
Hey, Vic, can you hear me? Yeah. We just came out of Stretch's Neck here. You want us to stop our head in around the yard office that puts you around the depot there, or you want us to pull you up the yard office there? Well, if you see us sitting there at the yard office, just pull me on up to the yard office. All right, I'll get them down there and see what's going on. That sounds good. Anyway, it don't matter, I guess. I guess they can ride down the print. It's like Cafe 2826. Here on this 3399, ready to head back west, I guess to Golly there.
Hi, 14227, you okay to proceed west from where you stand, signal indication?
Oh, we understand. All 14227 has FH permission to proceed west from where we stand there, back to the train. Thank you.
Alright, thanks. CSX FH out.
Now, at the time, Josh and I both believed we were witnessing man-helper service on the CNO, but after going back and listening to that recording, you'll notice there's a hint here. They said they were going back to their train, which means one thing. This isn't man-helper service. This is the train helping out another one. What I'm gonna say happened is this, is that coal train had a little trouble getting up the road. Whether that be because the train had stalled or because an engine went bad or what, I can't say, but they had trouble, and the dispatcher knew that R142 was in the area. So I'm gonna say he had R142 cut off their power from their train at Golly, and then shove the coal train into Quinemont, at which time they were cut off, and then they'd go back to their train and then continue their journey eastbound. That seems to be the most logical way to interpret this, if you ask me. I also know that Josh and I got caught up in the mystique of, hey, we might be catching the first time man-helpers have ever been run on this railroad, and we decided we were going to chase this thing back as far as we could. We ended up going to Cotton Hill, where we originally had seen those in eastbound on the way. And we had to wait a little bit. We thought we had seconds to spare. We actually had quite a bit to wait. But that's okay. It still ended up working out, and we got the train. Of course, you know I couldn't go to Cotton Hill without recording the defect detector. And here's what R142 sounds like going back over the Cotton Hill DD as light power. That's what we call trains that are moving just the engines. Light power, light engine move, something to do with light, not carrying the train.
CSX detector, milepost 411.1, traffic main 2, no defects, repeat, no defects, total axles 1, 2. Detector out.
No defects, R142.27.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the program and would like to watch past episodes, I invite you to check out our Facebook page on the New River Network. You can check us out on YouTube at New River Network, Roku with New River Network, WatchNRN.com, and here on cable in Fayette County. Share on Phone the Plateau Channel 17 down in the valley. So, for the New River Network, I'm Lucas Berry. Man, get it anytime. It's train time.